Hello and welcome back to Jimbo's PC Builds. Today it's time to do another cooler video, but this time it's going to be a little bit different. Oh, you've heard that before, but only for cases. This time it's coolers. So today, this is a direct request from a viewer who asked me to look at the three different types of the Phantom Spirit. There is the Phantom Spirit base model, there is the Phantom Spirit EVO, and there is the Phantom Spirit SE. Basically, the Phantom Spirit base model came out first, then came the EVO, then came the SE. And the viewer asked, is there any real difference between the cooler? So I've thrown them on the bench behind me, and I've tested the individual coolers. So without further ado, I'll get the coolers out and we can have a look at them. So here we go. I've got all three, as you can see. We've got on top, we've got the normal Phantom Spirit. To my left, we've got the EVO. And to my right, we've got the SE. You'll notice that the boxes for the Phantom Spirit and for the EVO look very much the same. So I've got all three coolers out, laid out with their boxes. What I'm going to do is I am going to bring up to the camera to show you what the difference is between the main the heat pipes and everything else. Then we'll go through the fans. All right, so let's bring up first the standard Phantom Spirit. You've got a plastic top on top, but the main heat stack is silver, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 heat pipes. Screw on each side, pretty standard stuff, and you can see there's a gap here to try and make it memory compatible on both sides. If you look at the EVO, it's got the same number of heat pipes, but there's something that jumps out straight away. It's black. You've got the same cover on top. Yeah, but apart from that, it looks like exactly the same. And then lastly, this is the SE. Yes, basically it looks identical to the base model, and it pretty much is. The difference I would say is you've got it's more of a painted piece of the heat stack on top rather than a plastic cover on the top. So that's other than that, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 heat pipes on all of them. So there's no real difference there. For the base model fans, I'll bring up the SE fans. Pretty much they look identical to me. Physically, don't think the voltage is different. They're basically the same fans. No difference whatsoever. They go to the same RPM. They're both 1500. There's no difference in the fan speeds or anything else like that. The big difference is the SE. You can tell straight away the SE has got a better fan. The build quality, if you look at the build quality on the standard one, this has got gaps. It's still got vibration pads in the corner, but it just feels a lot lighter. This feels a lot more bulky. You can also see there's a difference in terms of the blades as well. There's more blades on the SE model compared to the EVO. Sorry, the EVO model compared to the standard model and the SE. The other thing you can notice straight away is there's lights on the outside. It's got RGB, whereas the standard one and the SE do not have RGB. But basically the quality of the fan, it's actually also a better fan because it's got 2150 RPMs rather than 1500. So in theory, because this fan can go faster, even though the heat pipes are the same between the three, you should think that this will be able to handle a better or higher temperature. So it should be able to absorb more heat, because with faster fans it's going to make more noise, but it should be able to put more heat because it's putting more air through the cooling tower. So it should be able to absorb slightly more heat than the other two. All right, so that's the physical differences between the three models. I'm going to put up a little video now of what the standard model looks like when it's installed with the fans running. I'm also going to put up a video now of what it looks like with the SE running. And I'm also putting a video up now of what it looks like when the EVO is running. So there you go, you've been able to see what the differences are when they're running. It's not very much, especially between the EVO and standard, they look very much the same. All right, so now we've gone through the physical differences. Let's talk through the install. Now I'm going to bring up a video now of me installing the standard edition. The standard edition and the SE install exactly the same. There is no physical difference between the two. What I would say the difference is between the SE and the standard and the EVO. In the EVO, basically they've cheaped out a little bit. So instead of having solid metal components, basically there's a plastic washer. So the screw goes, instead of having a back plate that comes through, then you put like a nut on each corner, and then you put the bars on, and it's nice and easy. So it's a bit more of a finicky install for the EVO, because what they've done, sorry, for the SE, I'm getting them all wrong all the time. For the SE, the install's a little bit more finicky, because instead of like a back plate and you screw a thing and then put the back plate on, you've got to put the back plate through, then you put a purple washer on, then you've got a long screw that goes through to the back plate with the bar across. So it's a bit more of a pain to install. So I'd say that the SE is a bit more of a pain to install. So if you've not installed many coolers before, if you're installing it before you put it into a fresh new build, it's not going to make that much difference, because if you put your motherboard on a box, the back plate is pushed through and you're never going to really have much of a problem. But if you're saying upgrading your cooler and you're putting one of these in instead of the current cooler, then you've not got that luxury. And if you're trying to install it, what I had to do when I installed the SE on my test bench, I had to bring up the number and kind of cajole it and try and get it. Was a pain. So just keep that in mind, especially when we're going to go on to the test data next, and we're going to basically look at what the differences were between the actual coolers in terms of the numbers. And then once we've gone through those numbers, spoiler alert, there's not much difference. Spoiler alert, I'll give my conclusion on which of the three I would buy. So base temp. We had a base temp of the EVO of 23, the SE of 24, and the base model of 25. Really not much difference between them. There's 2 degrees between all of them, and ambient could have played any kind of difference between that. Bass sound. The SE and the base model were level on 34 decibels. The EVO was 34.2, but that difference is so small, you're talking margin of error. The score, there was less than 10 points between them. The EVO got 2,110, the SE got 2,105, and the base model got 2,101. So 9 points between the three of them. Again, margin of error stuff. The max temperature. The SE had a max temp of 85, the base model 87, and the EVO had 88. Again, ambient temperature coming into play, which can fluctuate a little bit. Basically, all within the margin of error, pretty much no difference. 3 Celsius separating all of them. Max sound. This was very interesting because, as we saw in the physical appearances, the SE and the base model basically looked like they had the same fans. Yet the max sound I saw out of the base model was 48.6, and out of the SE it was 49.4. And then with the EVO, with those bigger fans and with the higher RPM, we actually got more noise because we got up to 49.7. So those bigger, chunkier fans were blowing a lot more air for the temperature we got with that. So that's the numbers. Let's get on to the final conclusion. So conclusion time. Pretty much all 3 coolers perform within the scope of error between them. I think there are certain strengths and weaknesses of each, which especially around cost, etc. So let's look at the SE for starters. It's the same price pretty much when I looked on Amazon as the standard model. Yet it's a little bit more of a pain in the you-know-where to install. Now, if you've got both available in your area, then I would buy the base model over the SE. However, in some areas, there may be pricing difference, and really the problem with the install, if the SE you find cheaper, then I would go with that. Then let's look at the EVO. The EVO is a much more attractive cooler. It's got RGB, so it's got to be better, right? So you look at that cooler. The fan quality, the build is there, but obviously for that it's more expensive. So with the price of the Thermalright coolers, they're already relatively cheap. So which one would I buy personally? I think it really depends. They're all very, very, very good coolers. I did not like the install for the SE. That really put me off a little bit. So just based on that alone, I would say that of the three, that's what I would avoid. I think with the RGB that you get with the EVO and the options you get, because like I've got a black one, I think there's a silver one as well. It's just so much more attractive for not that much more money. Plus you've got fans that can spin up faster. I think it's worth the extra cost. So me personally, I would go with that over the other two. However, there's a big however, you really can't go wrong with any of them at the price they're at, and they're all really, really good coolers. So whichever one of the three you pick, you really can't go wrong. All right, I hope you found that information useful. Please toss a like on the video if you did. If you didn't like it, then put a dislike on. But if you do so, in fact, either way, leave a comment, if you've got any questions or if you've got any feedback on the video. If you didn't like it to help us improve, then please put the comments in. Please don't forget to subscribe. And like, by all means, please. Yes, that'd be nice. Don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon. My community is on its way to 1,500, which isn't massive, but for the amount of videos I put out, that's fairly respectable and I'm very happy with it. But it'd be great to grow the community. And hit the bell icon purely because I only put a video out pretty much once a month, so I'm very sporadic. So if you hit the bell icon, you'll get notified when I put content out, so you won't miss, say, the next installment of the Cooler League, which is going to be coming along shortly. You don't even see behind me, I've actually got the Peerless Assassin 140 installed, ready to test, and I will be doing that very soon. So yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all that kind of stuff. That's all of the YouTube stuff done. As always, I had fun making this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, take care.